Revenge films.
My name is Marina. I'm a full-time housewife living together with my husband and our son in kindergarten. 3 years ago, both my parents went to heaven because of an illness, so I inherited the mountain that my father owned. That is why on weekends I go to the mountains to forage mushrooms with my family. There are different kinds of mushrooms in the mountain. There are even rare types of mushrooms like the matsutake mushrooms, which are known for their thick, fibrous white flesh and their earthy, spicy flavor and aroma. I was looking forward to the weekends because it meant that I got to bond with my family while we gathered my favorite matsutake mushrooms. When my parents were still living on this earth, we used to go foraging for mushrooms in the mountains together with them. When we arrived home with the matsutake mushrooms, my mother used to cook palatable dishes using the mushrooms we picked. That is why I hold that mountain close to my heart, because it is a place filled with precious memories with my family.
We gathered so many matsutake mushrooms today! You're right, Shane. That's a lot of matsutake mushrooms. The weather is great today, so how about we grill some and enjoy it outside? Yippee!
We decided to cook the mushrooms and eat them outside, so I prepared the grill and started cooking the matsutake mushrooms. Then, while we were waiting for the mushrooms to be cooked, our neighbor Nancy passed by our house. "Oh my, that smells so good. Are those matsutake mushrooms?" "Hi Nancy, we're grilling matsutake mushrooms outside because the weather is great today. Would you like to have some?" "I just ate, so my stomach is full right now. Thanks for asking, but I'll pass for now. Those matsutake mushrooms look great though. They're expensive, aren't they? Where did you buy them?" "My family and I foraged these matsutake mushrooms from the mountain." "Is that so? You foraged them from the mountains? I want to go pick matsutake mushrooms too. Which mountain did you find them?" Nancy asked me about the location of the mountain, but my father told me not to tell him where the mountain is located, because there are people who go to the mountain only to forage matsutake mushrooms. That is why I didn't tell Nancy where the mountain is. But Nancy was displeased and turned sour. However, I can't break the promise that I made to my beloved father, so I froze there, thinking long and hard about how to say it. Before I could respond, Nancy stomped her feet and walked away. Nancy is known among our fried group for her gluttonous appetite. Whenever we go out to eat with the other mothers, Nancy always says this to everyone. "Can I have a bite? Just a bite." She says just a bite, but she sometimes ends up eating the whole thing. Nancy acts like whoever food is around, so I didn't really like her that much. I was a bit worried that Nancy might hold a grudge against me for not telling her where the mountain with matsutake mushrooms is located. That is why whenever I see her at the kindergarten, I was afraid to talk to her because she might ask me about the mushrooms again. Nancy not only has a gluttonous appetite, but she is also strong-willed. When I thought that Nancy might take her revenge on me, I trembled out of fear, so I wasn't in the mood. Little did I know that the hunch was about to come true. A few days later, then one night, when everyone was asleep in their beds, I awoke in the middle of the night to the loud noises coming from the garage. I was scared of what was happening in the garage, so I decided to wake my husband up. "Mark, wake up. I hear noises coming from the garage."
You're right.
My husband and I slowly climbed down the stairs, tiptoeing so as not to make a sound. We then saw a silhouette in the garage when there was supposed to be no one inside there. So my husband called the police right away, whispering the details to the police so the culprit won't hear us. We waited in the dark for the police officers to come. They finally came and seized the intruder in the garage. I was completely shocked when I saw the face of the culprit. To my utter surprise, the person in the garage was Nancy. I was at a loss for words, but I somehow was able to compose myself, so I asked her what she was doing in the garage and why. Nancy confessed her motives for sneaking into our garage in the middle of the night. According to her, she wanted to steal the SD card of the car's dashboard camera because she wanted to know the location of the mountain with matsutake mushrooms. The police took Nancy away in the police car, and after that, Nancy came to her house together with her husband to apologize for what she did.
I am truly sorry for the inconvenience caused by my wife.
"I am sorry."
We were very shocked, because the police came to our house in the middle of the night. The neighbors were inconvenienced, so they kept on asking me a lot of questions. We still have to pay off the house loan, and our children are still very young. So if you could find it in your hearts to forgive us, we would be very grateful to you. If only you promised not to do the same thing again.
"I will never do such a thing again. I am truly sorry. It was an impulse thought that I had."
All right, I understand. With that said, we will forgive you just this once. Thank you very much!
Nancy and her husband look very apologetic, and thinking about their young children, Mark and I decided that we wouldn't submit a report of damage. However, when I looked at Nancy, she was sulking, so it made me wonder if we're okay with settling it like this. Our children are both in the same class in kindergarten, so I didn't want to say anything at school about what happened. Thankfully, Nancy talked to me in kindergarten like nothing happened. However, when we went out to eat, I didn't see Nancy regretting what she did, and her gluttonous appetite never changed. But then one day, when we were having a lunch meeting with the other mothers, Nancy started talking about the mountain with matsutake mushroom. Did you guys know? Marie and her family went to forage mushrooms in the mountains.
Matsutake mushrooms? Wow, really? That's amazing.
I know, right? But she wants it all to herself, so she doesn't want to share with me, so she won't tell me where the mountain is located. She really is very stingy. Nancy, what are you saying? It's not like I want it all to myself. If what you're saying is true, then why don't you at least tell me the location? Come on, hurry up and tell us where it is. Let's go there with everyone in this group.
Well, now, Nancy, there's no need to force Marina to tell us, you know. There are times when you just want to spend time together with your family, right?
Right. I thought of telling Nancy that the mountain is private property, but if I tell her that, I have a feeling that she will ask me to take her there all the more. That is why I decided to shut my mouth and not talk about it. Nancy got the police force involved in the situation, and she even branded me as a villain of the group in this incident. So to Nancy, who kept on pestering me about the location of the mountain, I had a strong resentment towards her. Thinking that her regret was fake, I regretted not filing a report of damage to the police. The next weekend, I went to the mountain with my family, and we had plenty of fun foraging matsutake mushrooms to my heart's content. Then, while I was preparing dinner for my family after we arrived home, I received a call from Nancy. Hello? Marina, hello? What is this place? This is paradise! I can pick all the matsutake mushrooms I want! Huh? What do you mean? Wait, what? Where are you right now, Nancy? When I followed your car, I arrived at this mountain filled with matsutake mushrooms. This is what I should have done in the first place. I'm so lucky to be able to come to this mountain. Unbelievable! Nancy followed her car and tracked the location of the mountain. I was very dismayed by Nancy's appetite, so I couldn't accept her apology anymore. I decided that I would make her regret and properly reflect on her actions this time. I'm sorry for your loss. Huh? What do you mean? That mountain is private property. It's my family's private property. Please don't trespass without permission. It's too late for you to tell me that, you know, because I already filled my bag with matsutake mushrooms. I won't share a single piece of mushroom with you. Is that so? I understand. After hanging up the phone, I immediately reported Nancy to the police. Not long after, Nancy was taken to the police station by the officers, and I demanded that she give back all the matsutake mushrooms that she stole. During the police interrogation, Nancy said, I regret what I did. I will reflect on this and I will never do it again. That's what Nancy told the police officers. But of course, there was no way we believed her this time around. So my anger and my husband's anger reached their peaks. After that, Nancy came to our house again together with her husband. Nancy apologized again like she did before. However, there was no way my husband and I could forgive her this time around. So when I told Nancy that I would submit a report of damage to the police, she started getting upset. What? Why? This is unbelievable! How could you sue a fellow kindergarten mother? I thought we were friends! Our children are good friends, so at least let this pass, you stingy woman!
Hey! What are you saying?
Because... Hearing what Nancy really thinks about us, my husband and I filed a damage report without hesitation. Nancy ended up having to pay a fine for theft, so she kept on calling me, pestering me to withdraw the damage report. Nancy was too persistent, so my husband contacted Nancy's husband. Her husband then apologized profusely to my husband and then scolded Nancy. Since then, I stopped receiving calls from Nancy. Nancy's husband had enough of her shenanigans, so they ended up getting a divorce because of this incident. Her husband took custody of their child, so Nancy had to leave their house. Nancy then disappeared from the neighborhood, and she ended up living alone in a small, dingy apartment. Rumors say that her parents were furious when they found out about the incident of their daughter spending time at the police station. Nancy had nowhere to go, so she desperately searched for a job. However, the only work experience she had under her belt was as a housewife, so she couldn't find a job and ended up living in poverty. After some time later, on my husband's way home from drinking with his colleagues, he saw Nancy sitting a customer off in front of a mature women's pub. According to him, she looked thinner and paler. He can tell that she is working very hard to make ends meet. There were rumors going around about Nancy's incident, so I grabbed that opportunity to tell them that the mountain was private property, and I also told them the reason why I couldn't tell them where it was located. Surprisingly, everyone understood me. Nancy with a gluttonous appetite is no longer around, so whenever my family and I gather plenty of matsutake mushrooms, I invited the other mothers and their children in kindergarten who are Shane's friends. Because of that, I now have one more thing to look forward to in my life. I feel relief right now thinking that I can connect and have fun with my close friends.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.